if you didn't know, there is a strike in Hollywood, specifically with the Hollywood writers. Now, some of you guys don't quite understand why this is happening. I found a great informational video explaining all of this. And is it wrong to see an opportunity here? Let's jump in.
Writers going on strike. Welcome back to Nerdist News. I'm
it
Dan Casey, and
1.25?
today we're taking a break from dissecting pop culture to talk about the most important thing happening in the world of entertainment right now, the writers' strike. Now, as you may have heard, members of the Writers Guild of America, the labor union that represents some 11,500 writers of film and television, are officially on strike as of 12:01 a.m. on Tuesday morning. This is the first writers' strike in 15 years, and it comes after 6 weeks of protracted negotiations with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. More specifically, the AMPTP represented major studios and streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon, Apple, Disney, Warner Brothers Discovery, NBC Universal, Paramount, and Sony.
Interesting. So this is a huge chunk of the people who work on the shows that many of us watch on everything, in Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, all of it, TV, everything, late night TV, Saturday Night Live, all of it. These are the writers behind it. They're all a part of this union, and they're like, yo, we're not getting compensated fairly.
Wow. All right.
Okay.
In a statement to its members, the WGA wrote, "Here's what all writers know. The companies have broken this business. They've taken so much from the very people, the writers, who have made them wealthy. But what they cannot take from us is each other, our solidarity, our mutual commitment to save ourselves, and this profession that we love. We had hoped to do this through reasonable conversation. Now we will do it through struggle. For the sake of our present and our future, we've been given no other choice."
Wow.
Yeah. So this is a big deal.
Very intense there.
Well, this is a big deal. They really feel like they're being mistreated and finessed.
Yeah,
you know?
seems like
Now, I would be curious to look at the net profits of these major studios and these networks. Are their profits increasing? Because I know the gross is increasing, right, because of streamers. But are the profits increasing and they're just not being compensated, or are their profits not increasing and everyone's just operating on a shoestring budget? That would be an interesting inquiry in all this, because it's if the case is we're making more than ever, the executives are taking more than ever, and the writers are making the same amount they were 15 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a L.
Yeah, it's like the regulations for them is like has never been updated.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Go ahead.
Perhaps writer Eric Galindo put it the best. "If you're confused about the writer's strike, it's super basic. The studios want the option of having WGA writers to work for free or without an agreed upon weekly salary or even a day rate. And we actually want to get paid fairly for our work." While much of Hollywood deal-making is obfuscated and takes place behind closed doors, the WGA have been incredibly transparent about the proposals for which they're negotiating. As streaming networks have flourished, studios have devised new ways to devalue writing across all mediums by paying writers less and less. In a March 2023 memo titled "Writers Are Not Keeping Up," the WGA explained their position. "The companies have used the transition to streaming to cut writer pay and separate writing from production, worsening working conditions for series writers at all levels. On TV staffs, more writers are working at minimum regardless of experience, often for fewer weeks or in many rooms, while showrunners are left without a writing staff to complete the season."
The companies have used transition to streaming to cut writer pay and separating writers from production, worsening working conditions. So what does separating writing from production mean? It means that this is a separate process, and so they're able to finesse them and pay them less?
It seems like, they're able to, they don't live under the same guidelines that the production does.
Interesting. Okay.
Pre and post.
And while series budgets have soared over the past decade, median writer-producer pay has fallen.
Now that's the part where I'm like, yeah, that's foul. They should get paid.
Yeah.
You're increasing the budgets because it's a massive. I mean, Netflix is $100 million a month company. You're increasing all of this revenue that's coming in because of streaming, but yet the people who are writing are getting paid less. That doesn't make any sense.
I wonder what the motivation is behind that. Like when I see it from a business perspective, there must be some sort of like they're able to get away with worse stories for some reason. Like they're able to get away with less writing and higher budgets because I guess it attracts the same eyes with streaming specifically. Now, I would wonder why that is with streaming and how that's different from theaters.
I think as something gets bigger and more bureaucratic, I don't know because I've never been in the higher ups, but we've seen this with businesses that started small and grew to 7 figures or a couple 7 figures. There does seem to be this like divergence towards corporatism and not really caring about like everyone a part of the process, because then they become cogs in a wheel. So it's like, if you're the CEO or you're the producer, you're not really thinking about the bottom of the barrel guy that's trying to like feed his family as a writer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The writing just becomes a part of the process of making money.
Yes.
it's like making a thumbnail. It's like, oh, we can do a thumbnail real quick, knock it out,
Yep.
get a script done, boom.
Yeah.
Now, between layoffs, shrinking salaries, the mothballing of finished products for lucrative tax write-downs, and the general contraction of the industry, there are fewer opportunities for writers to actually make a living at their chosen trade. Per the WGA, median writer-producer pay has declined 4% over the last decade. Adjusted for inflation, that's a whopping 23% decrease.
That's crazy.
Now the question is here. I want to know where you're gonna land with this.
Okay.
But the question is here is: do we need to fight for writers' wages, or do writers need to find alternative careers, alternative solutions, alternative ways to produce content?
That's a great question. Hey, thank you so much for subscribing to our newest YouTube channel, Mastermind My Business, the channel where you get access to information on how to create, how to grow, and how to learn. But I wanted to show you something kind of crazy. Over 71% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. Please consider subscribing, turning that bell notification on so you don't miss anything. All right? I appreciate you.
This devaluation has taken on a new dimension in the age of streaming. Residuals have long been one of the primary ways through which writers can make a sustainable income.
Okay.
Residuals, for those who don't know, are ongoing payments for writers that are generated as reruns of shows and movies air on cable, in syndication, on DVD and Blu-ray, or airing on other digital platforms. And the data, if you look at it, can be a bit confusing at a glance because according to Deadline, the WGA West's annual report in 2022 revealed that residuals actually increased by 48.2% from 2011 to 2021. They went from $333 million to $493.6 million. But this is because more projects are being made across the board to keep up with the proliferation of streaming networks. On an actual per project basis, residuals are down significantly. According to Fortune, another major factor in this decline in residual pay is that so many studios and streamers are more likely to order a 10-episode season than the 22-episode season that was the standard when broadcasters dominated the medium. Now, back in 2022, writer Kira Jones very succinctly explained this discrepancy on Twitter. In case y'all are wondering why a WGA strike may be impending, my first residual check for the broadcast show I wrote on was $12,000. I just got my first residual check for my streaming show, $4.
Is that because a broadcast show is generating more money than a streaming show? Like, is that the reason? Or is it because the broadcast show costed less and generated more, and the streaming show costed more because they're spending more on production? Like, I'm genuinely at a lot. Or is it like these companies are just straight shafting the freaking writers? Like, I'm really trying to understand the other side of the argument because I don't get it.
It seems like this would be similar to music only being on iTunes and then it shifting to streaming. And you're like, oh, we used to make 30 grand off an album launch.
Yes.
Easy. That's only 3,000 sales.
I wonder, Blaine pointed out the broadcast show is being played whether people watch or not. So I wonder if they were able to fudge the numbers more and be like, you know, our show is on prime time at Fox and there's 10 million people watching. Where it's like, where now with analytics and data, you know how many people are watching on Netflix. And so then they're allocating less money because you can't inflate those numbers. And there's just more stuff to consume more than ever.
I don't think that's it.
You don't think that's it?
I think people were paying for cable. So you're paying these exorbitant cable prices.
And you were watching commercials.
And you were watching commercials.
What a finesse.
So that's what I mean. Is that like, we're like, oh, they're paying into it, where before people weren't paying, they were paying into it, and we're only paying $12 a month now, and when there's like pretty much no ads.
So what it sounds like is happening, based on what you're saying, is there's more stuff to consume because of streamers, but there is less money being generated per show because there's more stuff to consume. And it sounds like the stuff that's being generated is being earmarked for it's money that's just not going to the writers. Like, even if per show they're generated less, it's disproportionately less to the writers as well.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It's probably a mix of both. It's probably like, one, streaming services are significantly less money. And then two, they are probably cutting costs so that they can still take their cushy salaries and or still reinvest the profits into. They know how much the next show is going to costs to make,
Yeah.
and they have to front that money.
Now, the notion that Hollywood writers are all overpaid, sitting on Scrooge McDuckian piles of gold coins, is an overblown fiction. Speaking with The New Yorker, writer Alex O'Keefe revealed that despite being a staff writer on FX's critically acclaimed comedy The Bear, he was living in a tiny Brooklyn apartment with no heat. And when his space heater blew out the power, he would have to go to a public library to work instead.
Jeez,
when his
man.
show won the WGA award for a comedy series, he actually had a negative bank account and had to wear a bow tie he purchased on credit.
My
now, to put
gosh.
things in even starker context here, 8 executives, just 8 executives at major Hollywood studios made a combined $773 million last year in annual salary.
Oh yeah. This
That's
is straight going to the executives' pockets.
It's
man.
robbery.
Yeah.
Well, I would say I bet the executives aren't making more money.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to keep up their level of lifestyle. They don't want to take a pay cut.
Mm-hmm.
So they're cutting it from other places. I don't think they're like, wow, streaming is making so much more money that we can cut. It's still greedy.
Yeah.
Everyone should be taking a pay cut.
Yeah.
If the new model is there's no money coming in,
Yeah.
everyone's got to take a pay cut. You don't get $700 million.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
These fools was caking out. This is for a year?
Endeavor CEO was $308 million.
Hold on, for the year? This can't be for the year.
Okay. Last year, 8 major Hollywood studio CEOs made over $773 million
That's
in annual
almost
salaries.
$1 billion.
Meanwhile, many workers can't. Yeah, bro. This is per year.
This is for a year?
Disney CEO looked like the good guy compared to these fools. Look at this.
He's
32 million. It's like, oh, that's light. That's
Wow,
light,
okay,
Bob.
hold on. Disney, no, that's okay. Endeavor, Discovery, Disney, EC, Disney CEO, and then who's down below? Fox, Netflix.
Rupert Murdoch.
Okay, so these are the media companies. These aren't the production studios per se. But yeah, I mean, is it unreasonable for me to say these guys may want to take a pay cut?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
I
they're
don't
not the
mean to be
production
like,
studios, but the Netflix, they're also the ones that are paying for the shows. I wonder how much the production people are making though.
That's a good question. I think they're still making a livable wage.
They're still kicking
I
out,
checked
yeah.
out on TV, Netflix, and 90% of movies, because it's been trashed for too long, especially in the late 90s. Why is Discovery? Because I think Discovery owns other catalog that we don't know that they own, probably.
Yeah.
Like they're probably the parent company. Somebody made an interesting point. They said there's a reason why they're being paid that though. It's the workers' fault for accepting their pay in the first place. So here's an interesting take. It's the workers' fault, right? And this is where this isn't very capitalist of me to say. This is where I think in massive corporations like this, unions are probably serve some sort of benefit.
Wow.
You know what I
look at
mean?
You
Because
giving into some ideology.
I don't think it's ideology.
When you get ET back in here,
How do you combat this?
you have to work for yourself.
You have to either work for yourself,
Mhm.
or you have to be unionized to be like, we're all walking off. Figure it out. I guess these guys could have picked a different career path, but if like your dream is to be a writer on something, and you finally get there, and then you're being paid pennies on the dollar. Here's where I feel for these guys: is the people that got in 15 years ago that were making $12K a residual check.
Oh, yeah,
and now they're making pennies on the dollar, and they don't know anything else.
Yes.
Okay.
There's no way
now,
to look
if
out of
you're
it.
a young lad and you're like, I want to be a writer for a studio, and you're hearing that this is the pay, congratulations, you played yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the folks that have been doing this for a while, I feel bad for these folks.
I do, but it's also I do feel bad for them. That's really sad. Now it's time to pivot. It's time. It's
It's
like
a lot of people to pivot, bro.
yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it is. It's not easy. It never was supposed to be easy. These are the same people that got into the 1% of the Hollywood movie making industry.
Mm-hmm.
These same people they work their way into another field. You and me are not going to go talk to Ari Emanuel and convince him to not take a $308 million salary.
Or this is where the unions come in,
All right,
and we all bounce.
cool.
Everybody bounce.
No, I think it's great.
What is going to happen? No.
Yeah.
And this is where I was trying to get to this point. While these goobers are trying to figure this out because they want to make $1 billion in bonuses, $1 billion in personal bonuses, $1 billion
Yeah.
across 8 people, and bonus. This is crazy talk. So what I'm saying is, let these goobers figure it out, and those folks that are making alternative content on alternative media like YouTube, podcasting,
Yes.
Facebook, I think therein lies the opportunity.
100%.
I think these writers can probably go and pivot and develop some more skills and all that kind of stuff. But I think these guys are gonna have to figure this out. This is something that, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you listen.
They could retire. They don't have to figure it out.
It's not even retiring, bro. It's like there's a certain point where if your entire infrastructure of your industry shuts down because your writers don't feel compensated,
Yeah.
like that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey, did you know that you can watch videos like this on the Spotify app? We now are on Spotify under Ruslan Bless God Podcast. So if you're driving and you want to go back and forth between listening to the podcast and just the audio or watching the video, consider doing it now on the Spotify app as well as all podcast platforms. All right, I'll see you over there.
You know?
And it's time. It's time to move on. Look.
No, or it's time to unionize and fight back, which is what these guys are doing.
Unionize, fight back, do it all. Go through your court case, whatever. In the meantime, while you're also still not getting paid, it's time to go build some valuable skills. And what I'm not even talking to the actual current writers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to the idea that you can have your one master skill set and you're going to get paid and have a livable wage off that. I don't think that is the future of creating. I don't think that's the current future of creating.
Yes.
Like, I don't think in any way, shape, or form you can just be a writer and be successful anymore.
Yeah.
This is sad. This sucks. Go spend a couple months. Go spend the next 6 years fighting Endeavor. You got this. But in the meantime, pick up a DSLR.
Okay. But yeah, fair enough. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm all about people learning scarce skills, stacking skills, so on and so forth. What I'm saying is, I think, this is my opinion, this is going to cease to exist.
Yes.
Modern day Hollywood is going to cease to exist. So though I agree with you, yeah, develop more useful skills, diversify your skill set, all that. I'm with you all the way. But this system is going to collapse if these guys don't pivot. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's also equally true that this is kind of outlandish. Like $1 billion across 8 guys.
Oh yeah.
What if it was just half? What if it was just half? Remember, this isn't stock options. This is what they're making.
This is annual salary.
This is their salaries, bro.
Oh, I got this deposit into my bank account I mean, what is 308 million divided by 12?
It's 8. It's 8 of them, isn't there?
No, I'm just saying the individual guy. So Ari gets 25 million deposited into his bank account every month. So
yeah,
he makes 308 million.
Respect. Like, I'm sure he, I don't know what Endeavor is or what he did it, but I don't know. All I'm saying is everybody has to pivot, and I see a massive opportunity while all of this is shut down.
Yep, I'm with you.
To create alternative content for both people who are already on the inside, because there's going to be less stuff to consume. You're going to be opening up your Netflix. That show you wanted to see the new season of is not going to be up, and you're more likely to open up your YouTube app.
Yeah.
I think that's a massive W for folks that are already creating YouTube. And these writers, in my opinion, should pivot as well. But I don't know how this industry continues to exist in this way. Unless they use ChatGPT and they like figure out a way to
just cut the writers out completely.
Cut the writers out completely, which is even sad.
Isn't too crazy of a thought considering.
Well, so in this new in the things they're proposing, they're trying to limit the use of AI in this process. Yeah,
interesting.
They're trying to use.
So they're fighting the future.
They're fighting technology.
That's going to work out well.
Hey, this is a segment from our daily after party stream. Consider partnering with us online for as little as $5 a month to get access to these daily after party streams completely unedited. You'll also get access to our podcast as they are streamed live into the community before anyone else gets to see them, get to interact with our guests, get access to our private Discord server, and a discount code for our store for as little as $5 a month. Ultimately, that will help towards helping us continue contextualizing the gospel using media and podcast here on YouTube. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.